Welcome back to the deep dive where we, really try to cut to the chase and give you knowledge in the most direct way possible. And today we're going to be tackling Kanpur in Uttar Pradesh. Um, we've got some really interesting stuff on this one, and we basically want to extract like the absolute most interesting and the most significant aspects.
Yeah, think of it as like a rapid download on all the core things that really define Kanpur, all pulled straight from the sources we have.
Okay, so I think something that really stands out when you look at Kanpur, it constantly comes up in any discussion about Indian industry. For good reason. I mean, it holds this impressive title of Leather City of the World.
Yeah.
And that's not just some fancy name, right? It's like a leader in both leather and textile manufacturing. So it really is, they call it an industrial powerhouse, and it really lives up to that. It's pretty remarkable.
And what I think is also really interesting is that this industrial kind of dominance, it's not a new thing. It's built upon like decades of established production, craftsmanship, and it's had a really significant impact, I would say, on the economic landscape.
Absolutely. And then shifting gears a little bit, I mean, you can't talk about education and technology in India without mentioning IIT Kanpur.
Right.
They call it a global name. And I mean, rightfully so, right? I mean, this is one of India's most elite engineering institutions, and it's, actively shaping, it's like a driving force in a lot of the technological advancements that we're seeing today. It's a real hub of innovation. I think it's interesting, too, that with all this industrial strength, having that globally recognized institution right there, it's got to create this cool synergy, like a continuous feedback loop of talent, cutting-edge research going back into these industries.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely a sort of a symbiotic relationship there. Now, I think it's important to remember that Kanpur, it's not just about these present-day achievements, right? It has this deep, deep history. I mean, it played such a crucial role in India's 1857 revolt. And they talk about it having this rich historical legacy, and you can see that reflected in places like Nanarao Park and the Kanpur Memorial Church. It's not just like looking at old buildings, it's really about understanding, a turning point in India's struggle for independence.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how a city with such a historical, presence, how does it navigate this like rapid industrial and technological evolution? Like, what's that interplay between, remembrance and progress?
It's a fascinating question, yeah. And geographically speaking, Kanpur is also in a really, really significant location. It sits right on the banks of the Ganges River.
Beautiful.
They call it Ganga Riverfront Beauty. And it's not just beautiful, right? It's strategically important and like deeply, deeply revered.
And it's so much more than just a waterway. I mean, it's completely intertwined with the city's identity. It's
Absolutely. Influencing cultural practices, daily life, everything, really.
I mean, speaking of being well situated, when we talk about modern infrastructure, Kanpur is a major, they say, transport and connectivity hub. And it makes sense. It's one of North India's largest railway junctions.
Yeah.
And then there's this huge airport expansion going on right now.
Yeah.
So it's playing this like vital role in trade and just like facilitating movement. I mean, for any major industrial center, you've got to have that kind of connectivity.
Exactly. Efficient transportation networks are essential. It's like the lifeblood, right? To move goods and people and ideas. It fuels the economy.
For sure. And kind of switching gears again, I mean, there's also this really compelling mythological connection with Bithor.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a town very near Kanpur. And it's believed to be the birthplace of Lord Ram's sons, Love and Kush.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're talking about connections going back, millennia.
Yeah. It's true. And it adds, I think, such a rich layer to the cultural tapestry of the region. And it really highlights, a history that stretches far, far beyond what we've been talking about.
Absolutely. And, there's also the Kanpur Zoological Park, which is one of India's biggest. It's massive, spanning 76 hectares, housing all kinds of rare wildlife. I mean, that's pretty impressive for such a, bustling urban center.
Yeah.
To have that commitment to preserving, biodiversity.
It is. It's a vital aspect, I think, for quality of life and the environment. And speaking of things that are essential to quality of life, food.
Oh, yeah. We got to talk about the food.
Yeah.
Kanpur, they call it a street food paradise, and I'm kind of inclined to agree. I mean, just from the research, it seems like there's just tons of incredible food. They're known for Fagu ke laddu, Badnam kulfi, and of course, you can't forget that delicious North Indian chat.
It's true. And, you can really learn a lot about a city's culture and history through its food.
I totally agree.
These unique local flavors offer like a tangible taste, of Kanpur.
Absolutely. And then for all the sports fans out there, you've got Green Park Stadium, a true cricket and Green Park Stadium landmark.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's hosted a ton of international cricket matches. So this is, a venue with a really, really rich sporting legacy.
Yeah. Green Park definitely has a special place in Indian cricket history.
For sure. And looking toward the future, Kanpur is actually being identified as like an emerging smart city, which is really interesting. So, they're seeing rapid urban development, there are new metro systems being built, IT hubs are popping up, and there are all kinds of, smart city initiatives. So it seems like it's like poised for some pretty serious transformation.
Definitely. And I think this focus on future development while also respecting, those historical roots, it positions Contour really well for growth and innovation.
Absolutely. I think it's amazing. When you look at Kanpur, you see industrial power, educational excellence, deep, deep history, spiritual significance, incredible connectivity, ancient mythology.
Hmm.
I mean, natural spaces, amazing food, sporting heritage, and this really forward-thinking vision for a smart city.
Right. It's remarkable how all these different things, from like ancient legends to cutting edge technology, they all coexist in Kanpur.
So, I mean, here's something to consider. Given this mix, this really, compelling mix of a rich past and this rapidly developing present, what do you think will define the next chapter of Kanpur's story? I mean, how will all these elements continue to shape the journey? That's something I think is really fascinating.
It's a good question.
It is a good question. All right, well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive on Kanpur. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.